everyone, here is my data analysis. I will be using data that was collected through the program Reflex. Reflex is a great program that allows students to log in and practice their basic facts in both addition and subtraction and multiplication and division. So the first piece of data that I looked at, as you log into Reflex, this part pops up and it gives you your average fluency gain. So I started this back in the beginning of September or mid-September. So since then, an average student has mastered 30.4 facts. They have been averaging 7.6 days since we started, and then their green light days were 14.9. So their green light days kind of serves for two purposes. The one is that once they get a green light, they're able to modify their avatars or spend time doing non-instructional activities, such as going to the store and buying different things. It also shows that a reflex session is complete, which that is what we're really looking for them to do daily. So this is really great to look at and see that for my specific class, my numbers are lower. I'm able to look, I share this with a colleague, and her numbers for the facts per student since she started is 75.8, and her green light days are 83.5. So that could just be that her students have more time on Reflex daily. It could also just show that they have a better understanding of their basic facts and they practice them a little bit more, or they just have memorized them more. So that was good for me to see that they are lower, and my class definitely needs extra practice with their basic facts. Looking at individual student data, so the students have to go through an initial assessment. As you can see, some of my students have completed it, some of my students have not. That's good for me to see because they have to do that initial assessment before they can even begin practicing or doing anything like that. So 7 out of my 17 students have completed it and they're well on their way working forward. And then 10 out of 17 still need to finish that assessment, which I really need them to get finished. For their fact fluency, you can see how fluent they've become. And as you can see, none of my students have met the 70%, which is what we're looking for fourth grade when we give their basic fact quizzes. They're given 5 minutes to solve as many multiplication and division problems as they can. So one of the kind of barriers or something that I was looking at here is that when we give them those 5-minute checks, it's only multiplication or it's only division. Whereas with this program, they are doing both at one time, which requires students to really think and know their fact families, which is why these could be a little bit lower, but still progressing. Over here, you can see that there's students that have not been on for a really long time, which is something that I need to work on, making sure that they get on every time. So looking at this data was good for me to see that one of my students hasn't been on in almost a month. So that's beneficial for me as a teacher to see that I need to make sure that I'm making time for them to be able to log in. They also have, I have 2 students who got their green light days just last week or today. But as I was looking at their data, it took them about 20 minutes to get there. So again, that's more information for me or data collected for me to see how long it takes them to get to their green light days so I can make sure that they are having enough time to practice. Here's some student data from the very beginning, from September 16th and 17th. So these are 2 different students. As you can see, neither one of them were fluent in any of their facts starting back in September. Some reasons for this could be it was still early in the school year. They were getting back into the swing of things. Some students haven't been in school for a year and a half. So if they weren't used to getting on and practicing their basic facts, and it could just be summer slide. So some of these facts also, they were unassessed during that time. I think they kind of start out easier, and then as they work through the process, it gets harder. Here is a piece of the same students, different data. This is from just last week. So as you can see, definitely a large jump from when they first started to now. You can see, if you look closely, that they are becoming fluent in their zeros, ones, and tens, which are their easier facts. So this student's still working to gain mastery in other facts, and over here this student has been assessed with all of their basic facts from 0 to 10, and they're working their way up to having everything in dark green. Some more student data. You can look and see how far they've grown from the beginning. So obviously both of these students started at different places when we first started this, and they're both making gains. This one a little bit more than this student here. It just could be because this the student on the right is able to log in more and has more time working with reflex, because you can see this student on the left, they haven't had any facts that they've gained, whereas this student has gained 71 facts, which is great. So some common themes that I saw as I was looking at the different data is that students are not mastering facts when they should know their fact families. If we look back at this diagram, anything that's in light green or not shaded, that's a fact that they've missed. So if they know their fact families, they should easily be able to solve these multiplication problems, which as I was looking at student data, it was showing that they don't. So they need a review on fact families. Many students are showing mastery in their zeros, ones, and tens for multiplication, which is great. A huge theme that I'm seeing is that students are not logging in daily. I use this during my math rotations each day, and students have independent work that they need to complete first, then they can log on to Reflex. So if students don't have enough time to complete their independent work and get on here, their data might be skewed a bit, or they won't really have any because they're not logging in. And then the last one is that students who are using Reflex and they're using it daily, they are building their fact fluency, which is what we're looking for. So what does the data say about student learning? The more that students are practicing their basic facts on Reflex, the better they are becoming at building mastery and fact fluency. This is something that they need to practice daily, and too many students are not logging in. So what does this say about my teaching? For the students who are not logging in, I need to make sure that I'm giving them enough time to log in and have enough time to get to those green light days and make it a priority, maybe over review work, or I need to cut down my independent station so that they do have time to work on this. They definitely need a review on fact families. So that when they're thinking, if they have 2 times 3 is 6, they should know that 6 divided by 3 is 2 right off the bat. What would I do differently to improve student performance? Really encourage them to think about their fact families and to think about the problem that they're being asked to solve. Maybe create a competition between classes to help build student engagement so they want to log in and they want to be doing well on Reflex, rather than just logging in and not really answering any questions or not really caring about what answers they put down. And then also have a weekly printout of facts that students need to be practicing. So if I go back to this diagram for this student, it might be any of the ones in white, or maybe the ones up here that are in green that they were struggling with in the very beginning, and then also still don't have mastery as well, so that they can study that during the week or even over the weekend or things like that. So this was my data analysis on reflex. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.